Good Tuesday evening, everybody. Wet and dreary weather has not stopped voters from coming out in big numbers today.
But the weather has certainly caused some issues for some North Carolina voters, but not the kind of weather problems that you'd think. In fact, the State Board of Elections and Ethics Enforcement says that high humidity levels is preventing some paper ballots from being fed through their tabulators in a number of precincts, including here locally. More on that in just a moment.
As a result, 2 North Carolina polling sites will have extended voting hours this evening. One of them is in Columbus County. That'll be open until 9:20 tonight. Another in Gaston County will close about 20 minutes later than the rest of them at 7:50. State law requires voting hours to be extended if there's any interruption that lasts at least 15 minutes during the regularly scheduled day.
So this year's unprecedented early voting totals set the stage, I should say, for what election officials hope will then translate into high turnout rates overall. Mallory Lane kicks off our team coverage tonight in Guilford County. Mallory.
Well, guys, so far so good in Guilford County. Elections officials here say that the turnout for this midterm election has been higher than any they can remember in years past. They feel that the momentum from early voting has really carried over into today. Guilford County seeing more than 100,000 early voters. Now, as far as any problems at the polls today, Guilford County Elections Director Charlie Calicut says they have been minimal. He and his staff have been in since 5:30 this morning, fielding phone calls from voters. Their most common call today has been from voters asking if they're registered and where they need to vote. Those phone lines are still open tonight as long as the polls are open.
If you don't know where to go vote, call us at our office and we'll get you into the right place. But remember, polls close at 7:30, so don't wait until 7:29. We don't want something to happen where you get delayed and have to come in late. So go ahead and get it done. If you haven't already done it, go do it right now.
Calicut saying today he feels that candidates are taking this election very seriously, and he encourages voters to do the same. That's it from Guilford County tonight. We'll send things over now to Kirsten Gutierrez, who is reporting tonight in Forsyth County.
Mallory, I've been to several precincts across Forsyth County, and all of them say they've been steadily busy. Now, I'm here at the Clemens Civic Club, and they say that they've been busy, and they're only going to get even busier until 7:30. Now, some of the poll workers say that it's been so busy, and this turnout has been so great so far today that they're mirroring that to a presidential election. Now, with any election, there's always going to be some sort of issues, and there was several issues this morning at one of the polling places in Forsyth County, and that was at the Piedmont International University polling site. They saw an unusual problem. Now, Chief Judge Puccini Roseboro says ballots were too damp, and that's because of the weather, causing them to get jammed in the machine that counts and reads the ballots. Now, when the problem started, voters put their ballots in an emergency bin that was watched over by Roseboro and 2 other judges, both Democrat and Republican. Now, Roseboro says he's been working the polls since 2000 and has never seen any issues like this before.
I think the sensitivity of the moisture and the machine, you could tell that the actual ballot was kind of moist. And I think that the moisture that affected the paper of the ballot, it wouldn't actually go through the machine. So it just would not count the ballot. So we had to kind of like wait a while until, it dried up, and actually the machine worked just fine.
Since this morning, Roseboro says that they have not had any further issues, and that was wrapped up a few hours after they caught that problem. Now, that similar issue also happened in Wake County, like the anchors just mentioned, and all those votes will be counted. Now, we also reached out to the Forsyth County Board of Elections to see if there's been any other issues in Forsyth County, and we have not heard back. Live in Clemens, Kirsten Gutierrez, WXI 12 News.
Thank you, Kirsten. An issue between a voter and a poll worker in Winston-Salem this morning led to a criminal summons. Police say that voter by the name of Lakira McBride is accused of assaulting or attacking a volunteer at the Martin Luther King Jr. Recreation Center, and officers say this disturbance did not interrupt voting.
I'm Steve King, live in Rockingham County, where many voters are going to help decide the 30th Senate District race between Republican longtime incumbent Phil Berger and Democratic political newcomer Jen Mangrum. Now, Board of Elections leaders say that it's been a very busy day. It continues to be busy right now, and they say that once the final numbers come out, they will see if their hunch is correct that the voter turnout is larger this year than in the 2014 midterm election. Now, they say that there have been 7,000 people as of about 2 p.m. today who casted their ballots. They say that they're going to have those final numbers tonight at about 7:30 or 8. They also say that with about 90 minutes left until the polls close, they are anticipating more people to be coming out here in the next few minutes, as now people are wrapping up their days at the office and just leaving work. They also say that people have been coming into the polls pretty consistently throughout the day, even though they are expecting larger numbers here right before the polls close.
I can't wait to see the numbers tonight. We always want, hope for a record-setting midterm or a record-setting any election, so I would hope to see that. But things are good. Just come out and vote, please. Your vote is your voice.
There were just a couple of hiccups today, one at the Moss Street precinct, the other at the Huntsville precinct, where some of the ballot machines were getting jammed up, but elections leaders say that those machines were fixed soon after, and there was a backup plan in place so no voters had to wait any extra time to cast their ballots. Reporting live in Reidsville, Steve King, WXII 12 News.
Thank you, Steve. The battle for the 13th congressional district in our state could influence the battle of power in Washington, D.C. in the House of Representatives. Republican incumbent Congressman Ted Budd is hoping to hold off a fierce challenge from Democrat Kathy Manning. This is one of the most expensive races North Carolina has ever seen at the congressional level. WXII 12's Janae Lewis is following the Budd campaign tonight, and she joins us live in Davie County. Janae.
I had a chance to speak to Republican incumbent Ted Budd earlier today. He told me this is the toughest district in the state. He says he's been laying the groundwork for the last 2 years for re-election, but he knows a win tonight is not going to come easy. That's why he is certainly hopeful that people will come out in large number and vote on his behalf. He was at the polls and went door to door in Davie County, emphasizing the importance of every single vote. In 2016, Budd won the entire 13th district with the exception of Guilford County, which leans more Democratic. He said this time around he emphasized how he does in Washington and how he does here locally will also benefit them.
I've just told him, look, this is who I am. This is what I've supported. This grows the economy, whether you're in Davidson County, Davie County, Rowan, Iredell, or Guilford County. The things I do help all the North Carolina 13th district.
You have a little more than an hour now left to cast your ballot. We're going to be here live tonight in Bermuda Run following the results as they come in for this election that could have national implications on who controls the House. For now, we're going to send things over in Greensboro, where Margaret Johnson is tracking the Kathy Manning race.
Well, good evening. We are inside the Greensboro Coliseum, where Kathy Manning and her supporters will be watching these returns come in. For both the Democrat Manning and her Republican challenger Ted Budd, nasty, brutal attack ads have dominated their campaign. Will they hurt or help the Democrat when all of the votes are counted tonight? Now, one of those ads paints her as a rich queen living in a castle with enough money to hobnob with rich and powerful politicians like the Clintons, Obamas, and Nancy Pelosi. Now, both Manning and Ted Budd have raised a boatload of money between them. Outside sources have pumped millions more into those attack ads on both sides. Now, I asked Kathy Manning if she thinks those nasty ads will hurt or help her chances at winning the 13th tonight, and if she is concerned at all about polls that show her lagging behind.
You know, the polls go up and down, and that's not what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is making sure all the voters know where to go, know how late the polls are open, and get out to vote. I guess people are kind of sick of those negative ads, and we've tried to stay on the issues.
But do you think they help or hurt as far as your campaign is concerned?
Well, we'll find out tonight.
Manning is set to arrive here at the Coliseum a little bit later, around 8 o'clock tonight, to watch those results. We will be here for the victory or the concession, whichever one it is. Of course, we'll bring it to you. Live in Greensboro, Margaret Johnson, WXII 12 News.
Thank you, Margot. Another big race that we're following puts two women battling for the 5th district. We're talking about Winston-Salem City Council member and Democrat DeeDee Adams hoping to unseat a person with a lot of name recognition. Talking about Republican incumbent Virginia Foxx, who has held on to this seat since 2004. And then over in the 6th district, two men going head to head. Republican Representative Mark Walker takes on young Democrat Ryan Watts, 28 years old.
Heavy voter turnout today in Surry County, where a new sheriff is on the ballot potentially. This is Democratic Sheriff Jimmy Combs' first election after taking over for Graham Atkinson. He retired when he took a new job with the State Parole Commission in 2017. His Republican challenger is Reserve Deputy Steve Hyatt. The thing to watch in this race is the potential party shift after Democrats have represented that office for about the last 20 years. Voters also deciding on the future of those 6 constitutional amendments tonight. They include requiring a photo ID to cast your ballot in future elections, moving power to fill judicial vacancies from the governor to the state legislature, and also changing the makeup of the state election board. Other items: capping state income tax at 7%, expanding the rights of crime victims, as well as hunting and fishing rights. We'll take a closer look at those amendments online at WXII12.com.
Poll workers in Alamance County bracing for a big election day turnout. More than 30,000 residents cast their ballots early this year. Voters will decide the fate of proposed bonds on the ballot. The first is a $150 million bond that would be used to rebuild and renovate some schools within the county. The second would direct $39.6 million for renovations at Alamance Community College. And in addition to that, we know that if the bonds pass, property sales tax would go up to from 7 to 8 cents per $100 of property value.
Winston-Salem Forsyth County voters are weighing in on 5 bonds as well. They come to a total of $122 million and would go toward 5 different areas: parks and rec, streets and sidewalks, housing, economic development, and public safety facilities. The funding will come from a property tax increase if voters approve it, 4 cents on the dollar. And you can count on WXI 12 to bring you the latest election results on air throughout the evening and online at WXII12.com.